So we're based in Lafayette, which the Boilermakers know, but for everybody else is a little south of Chicago, north of Indianapolis. It's in the heartland. We're surrounded by soybean fields and corn. And the photo you see on the right was taken a couple of weeks ago. And because it's always like that, we're stuck in our labs, pounding away at the keyboards and doing a lot of quantum programming. And just in case anybody, believe me, I'm joking, that's from the other 7 months of the year when it's winter. So we're affiliated with Purdue. We're the first company awarded a federal government phase 3 contract. So that's a production level, operationalized quantum computing contract. We run that for the US Air Force via chain of command that goes from AFMC down to the warfighters, the men and women who are making sure that the Air Force has the parts they need to operate. We're also the first company, I believe, and please correct me if you think I'm wrong, using live data in a quantum operational application. We're the first company to deliver the DoD's operational software, and we're also the first company to be awarded a ABMS quantum computing contract. That falls under JADC2, which is what the Davidson presentation touched upon yesterday. Although we were only formed as a corporation a couple of years ago, we were actually working on quantum contracts for the military many years before that, but it was under our classical computing operation. And so you'll see us, we were one of the founding members of the IBM Quantum Network a long time ago, so you won't see this name, Quantum Research Sciences or QRS up there, but we were there working on quantum. It's very exciting to be here. This is a great time for the industry. I'm excited. A lot of good stuff is going on, and we're starting to get great traction for us in particular, as well as I think for the industry. So although all of our contracts are DoD and US federal government, I am here to talk about financial applications. And the reason is what you see on the screen is that there's a lot of overlap between and synergy or symmetry between managing assets that are on the shelf as compared to managing assets that might be a little more virtual, like stocks, bonds, and we feel this is a very rich area to get into for quantum computing. We've dabbled in it. We want to do more with it, and so I have 3 requests for the audience, for those of you here live or listening in. One is if you're an investment manager, you're a portfolio manager, you're an equities analyst, the first use case I'm going to go over may apply to you. We do not have your expertise, so if you see value in this, please reach out to me. We'd like to take what I'm about to show you, improve upon it, and get an even more valuable financial application. The second request is for the second use case, which is going to be for treasurers, maybe CFOs of moderate size or larger corporations that are balancing their corporate structure. I'll talk about that. So again, if you happen to fall into that field or you know somebody who does, we would appreciate that partnership, that collaboration to further improve upon what we're going to be showing here in a few minutes. And then finally, to everybody else, relax. Take what we're doing here, just as with Elijah and Kathy and all the great presenters before us, and take this as a door opening to a world of similar applications. So in other words, what I'm presenting here and what the others have presented are just the first of many use cases that are out there but haven't been discovered yet. So just even though this may not apply to you specifically, think about how it can apply in other situations that might be in your life or in your business or your operation, and seek me out, because we're a very collaborative team. We're looking for fun ways to evolve quantum computing, and this is just the beginning. Okay, so you've all seen this, I think, many times today and several times yesterday. There's just a lot of complexity with trying to do a 100 choose 20, a 100 choose 10, 200 choose 30, and the D-Wave machine is exceptional at that. That's the impetus of me being here. So what we're doing is we're taking this type of use case and we're going to apply it to portfolio optimization. So what you're looking at on the graph on the right is approximately the total universe of available publicly traded stocks. So there's about 10,000 of them. Then we're going to sieve out everything that does not fall with these criteria, and these could change depending on what that investment manager or that portfolio manager wants. So in this case, we're looking at stocks that have a market cap between 10 million and 10 billion. So this is essentially the price of the stock times number of outstanding shares. We're looking for securities that have stock prices that are relatively high, have a low price to book ratio, a low or below 17 price to equity, PDE ratio, have a high dividend yield and a good free cash flow. So some of you may recognize this kind of as value investment quality stocks. That's all there is to it. These can change. This is more arbitrary than we're going after some kind of particular portfolio here. But what we are going to do is we're going to optimize for R squared. So that loosely is diversification, which a lot of people think is an important variable when you're putting together a portfolio. It's not the only one. It may not even be the best one. Again, I'm more on the computer science side, less on the finance side, but this is one of the things that we can optimize for. So here, over the next couple of slides, I'm going to try not to go down to too deep of a level, but I'll walk through the process of how we optimize a portfolio using quantum mechanics. So using that sieve that I showed on the prior slide, we're taking those 10,000 stocks down to 175, and we want to get to 20. And again, just a little bit arbitrary. So this is 175 now, universe going down to 20. So what we're trying to do is at this first step, take this portfolio and optimize it for R squared, diversification. Or some people say, look at R squared as being a connectivity or a parallel to a different market indice like the S&P 500. So we're going to have each qubit represent one of these stocks. Are you going to buy it? Are you buying it? Are you not buying it? Is it going to be in the portfolio? Is it not? And then we're going to do that for all of that initial or that secondary universe of stocks. Okay, and then we're going to restrict that. We're using essentially the same math that you've seen in the last two presenters, and I think and some presenters before that. So we're going to restrict this down to a portfolio of 20 stocks. So this is 100 choose 20. This is classically not feasible. It's going to take too long. We're going to show some of the results. And this is, again, just an arbitrary portfolio optimization. I think what we're really looking at in real life is a lot more than 100 choose 20. It's going to be 1,000 choose 50. But this is just trying to prove out this technology. So we're going to get to this portfolio. It's going to be optimized for R squared, which is about where we are in step 5. We've indicated in blue or gray whether it's a classical or it's a quantum computation. And then what's going to happen now that you have these stocks, the portfolio manager, we think, is going to look at them, these 20, and one of two things is going to happen. The stock does well. And then here again, arbitrary, but it gets over a 25% gain. They're going to pull that stock. It achieved great returns. They want to harvest those returns. In the other case, they want to do a stop loss. So for whatever reason, the stock's going down. Usually, I think stop losses are between 8% and 15%. Some of us aren't that disciplined. We let it go. And we lose half of it. But a disciplined portfolio manager is probably going to pull it between 8 and 15%. So we did 10% here. So in either case, that one qubit, that stock is getting pulled, and now you're left with a portfolio of 19 stocks. And now we're going to shift gears to a reverse annealing methodology to now repopulate the population. So we had 20 stocks, so we want a portfolio of 20 stocks. We're now down at 19. We want to set constraints to look at the original population. It's not going to include the 19 or the 20 that were originally selected. So out of that 100, we're now down to this smaller population. We're going to go through these steps to find the next best qubit, the next best stock to add back to the portfolio. And then this process is just going to repeat. And the reason this is important, okay, I've talked through that. The reason this is important is for two reasons. One, this is showing how this larger portfolio optimization, which many of us are involved in either directly or indirectly, works, and how it can apply to a much more probably realistic and complex situation. So what you're looking at on the right, and I think we generated this as well as that first graphic, is what the confusing connectivity, and we've seen that on some of the other graphics that the presenters showed earlier, is that 100 choose 20 and trying to sort through that. And then I'm going to show here what some of the other presenters have also presented, which is the comparison between the different options that are available to try to identify the best portfolio. I don't think, in my mind, the important point and the close in what you see on the right side of the screen is the time element. I used to be there, and I know that we've spoken a lot during this two-day conference on how annealing is, there's this speed element to it, and certainly that is important. And for somebody who, where time is an issue, that plays a much greater role. But what I see here is cost. And the cost of doing this, which isn't as easily quantified as time, is actually the more important variable when a team or an individual is trying to get to do what they're doing. And that's the value that I think not only does this particular technology with D-Wave do, but we as a community are bringing to the world. And that's pulling on the thread that I think Murray brought up earlier today, is that we are bringing meaning of what is happening here in the quantum world to the real world. Okay, so switching gears to a different financial application. So capital structure is the mix of, and I'm going to skip to the second slide here, stocks and bonds that a corporation will juggle to optimize the level of debt that's needed for them to grow. So we're all familiar with common stock, the stuff that we'll buy on E-Trade and trade and sell, but there's also many different layers of stocks that then kind of hybrid transition into debt and bonds. And so for a corporation, they're going to be juggling 5, 10, 15, 20, maybe more types of these securities. So what's been taking place in the world is that for a 10Q or a 10K, the annual report is a bunch of the corporate treasurer staff gets together. They go through a lot of spreadsheets. They're doing a lot of Excel or database crunching to try to get to the optimal ratio that's needed for the optimal level of debt. Debt, to some degree, is good, or there's an optimal level of debt. And for corporations, not individuals, that's good. And so they're always juggling how long that is, how short it is, when they should trade it, should they go more into the securities equity side, have more debt. And so that today is a long, complex, and difficult process, which doesn't line up with the world we live in, which is increasingly cloud-based with multiple markets across the world, all open to trading these securities. So a quantum algorithm, a quantum optimization, apologies if I skip through some of these slides, allow us to optimize that structure of securities for the CFO, for the corporate treasurer, so they can do it virtually instantaneously. And in today's world, where a issue that may come up in the Far East has implication on the corporate structure, it's important to get that done quickly but probably more of a real world scenario is when in the US, the Federal Reserve or the equivalent in the European Union or some of the larger foreign countries make a change. It has implications on the larger corporations, which is almost all of which are international. So having a quantum optimization that allows that corporate treasurer to see which bonds should be reduced, see which equities should be increased, even if it takes a couple days to put that in action, is a great use case, today real world application of today's level of quantum technology. So again, 3 requests. 1, if you operate in either of these 2 industries, we would appreciate you reaching out to us so that we can improve upon these models, make them a little more realistic and applicable to what's needed today. And if you're not, think about these concepts. Think about the concepts that have been brought up during the conference and reach out to us. We're a quantum computing software company. That's all we do. We also endorse the same D-Wave adjective of being practical. We've been focused on that for a long time. We've been focusing on that for over 7 years. And I'm an advocate for this is not, or I'm a proponent of this industry is not 5 to 7 to 10 years away. It's now. The diamonds all around us, but they're buried. It takes some work. You got to dig for them. But the use cases are there that match up with today's hardware. And we'd love to partner with anybody to go find them. Thank you very much.